Recently, I replied to a Reddit post about the most terrifying events in life. After reading my story, several people advised me to post it here in a separate thread. So, here I am. About a week before my 10th birthday, I went to the corner store clutching a $5 bill in my hand. My mom asked me to buy a jar of pasta sauce. On my way home, a man I had never seen before approached me and spoke. "Hello," he said cheerfully. "My name is Dr. Ramsey. I'm a pediatrician. Do you know what a pediatrician is?" I kept walking in silence, not responding, and fervently hoping he would take it as a sign to leave me alone. But obviously, he didn't take the hint because he kept talking non-stop. "Your parents are looking for a pediatrician for you. Although, of course, you're almost a big girl now. Soon you'll need another doctor, right? But it doesn't matter. Until then, they can bring you to me. What's your name? You have beautiful hair." I was just going to buy lollipops for the candy jar in my office. "Do you like lollipops?" Luckily, we were already reaching my house. I took off running, ran up the back steps, and flew through the kitchen door. At that moment, I didn't know it yet, but it was the beginning of a very long and terrifying nightmare. Shortly after, Dr. Ramsey began to appear constantly. At first, it seemed harmless, at least to a child. He would drive by in his car almost every day, smiling and waving. I told my mum, and she suggested that maybe he was just on his way home from work. But then the phone call started. My dad called me into the living room and sat me down for a serious talk. He asked me about that day Dr. Ramsey followed me home and if I had spoken to him. My dad said I wouldn't be in trouble, but that I had to tell the truth. I replied that I hadn't. He asked me again if I was sure, if maybe I had forgotten something. I said no again. He frowned and asked, "Then how does he know your name?" I didn't know. It turned out that wasn't the only thing he knew. He also knew my sister's name. Soon, my sister and I were forbidden from going near the phone. He called several times a day. At first, neither of us understood what he was saying to our parents. But one night, one of my brothers let it slip and told us that this guy was telling them he planned to hurt me. And later, threats against my sister were added. After that, everything became very complicated. My dad called the police, but since it was before stalking and harassment laws existed, they couldn't do much. They told us to call only if he tried something. Then my dad called an old friend who worked as a police officer. For the entire next month, this friend walked me to and from school. Suddenly, my normal life came to an abrupt halt. I couldn't go to school alone. I couldn't play in the street. I couldn't run to the local corner store. When access to me was completely cut off, the situation worsened. It was around that time that he started threatening my sister. One afternoon, my sister, my two brothers, my mom, and I were in the kitchen. One of my brothers noticed a figure in the garage. They saw him too. Dr. Ramsey bolted out of the garage, and my brothers went after him. They chased him to Zucconi Park, where he disappeared among the trees. My parents called the police again, but with no results. All they had was a physical description and a name that was almost certainly fake. A couple of weeks later, waking up in the morning, we found our dog hanging on the side porch. He was a magnificent black and tan German Shepherd who had been born on the same day as me. We were all devastated. The police said there was no evidence of his involvement and called it an accident, but none of us believed it. Meanwhile, his calls were becoming more detailed. He talked about who was home and who wasn't. If my brother answered and said my dad was home, that psychopath would tell him who was actually in the house. He also talked about the house itself, about the kitchen window that he could easily open with a knife from the outside even if it was locked, about the double glass doors that connected the living room to the side porch, and how the lock could be forced from the outside if pried correctly. That same night, my dad hammered long construction nails into the base of those doors until the new lock he had ordered arrived. Once my parents had to go to a corporate event for my dad's work. My older brothers went to the skating rink. My sister was glued to the phone, talking to her best friend. My younger brother was sleeping on the floor. I was watching television, a music program. It was already late. Suddenly, the top part of the glass doors opened inward. In those milliseconds, Before the nails at the bottom made the door bounce back, I saw his silhouette. My sister threw the phone receiver at the TV and we ran upstairs. Halfway up, we realized that my younger brother was still sleeping on the living room floor. Trying not to make noise, we slid back down to pick him up. We all hid in our room, not turning on the light so we could see what was happening outside. We watched through the window for a while, but didn't see anyone. So we crawled down the hallway to my brother's room to look from there. Looking down, we saw someone standing by the back door. He knocked loudly. "What do you want?" my sister shouted out the window. He took a step back and said, "It's Mercy's house. I brought pizza. You can come to the door." She snorted, saying she wasn't stupid, that she saw he didn't have any pizza and that she was going to call the cops. He left. Soon my older brothers returned. We told them what happened, and they checked the yard looking for him. Then they came back into the house, and the atmosphere relaxed a bit. By then, we had almost stopped calling the police because it never helped. We just sat in the house, and each of us, except the little one who fell back asleep, had a kitchen knife in hand just in case. Finally, one of my brothers went to the kitchen to eat cereal. You know that feeling of feeling under your skin that someone is watching you? Oh yes. He felt it with full force. He checked the kitchen, the door frame to the dining room, the windows. He didn't see anything, but the gaze kept pressing on him. So he moved closer to the door to get a better look at the yard. The kitchen light was reflecting on the door panes. There were 3 rows of 3 small windows, so the visibility was poor. He got closer and closer until he was pressed against the door, putting his hands on the sides of his face to block the reflections. There, on the other side of the glass, was Dr. Ramsey smiling directly into his face. My brother turned around to call the older ones, and when he looked back through the window, he was gone. They went out to look for him again, but without success. The next night, we were sitting at the table playing cards. That brother was acting very restless. My sister asked him what was wrong, and he replied that he felt all the time that at any moment a loud bang would be heard at the door or window. Almost as soon as he finished the sentence, something hit the window right behind his back. In the resulting chaos, the 2 older ones ran out, but the stalker disappeared again. A couple of weeks later, I was at school. We were having recess outside. I was hanging upside down on a bar when I saw the familiar blue Ford Galaxy passing slowly. He was there, smiling and waving at me. He called me by my name. I ran to the teacher and told her everything. The school was aware of the situation, so they took me inside immediately and called my mom. That same day, my mom had already been called from the school office to confirm that my dad would pick me up, as he had called saying he was on his way. But my dad hadn't called. Shortly after that, I woke up at night thirsty. I went down to the kitchen to drink water, and there, in the dark and alone, sat my dad. On the table was a gun. He was tired of the police waiting for Dr. Ramsey to do something. He was tired of his children being terrorized. He was tired of being afraid every time he went to work that something would happen to us while he was gone. I sat with him for a while, watching, before he sent me back to bed. These and many other events occurred over approximately 18 months, and then, as suddenly as it began, it all ended. He disappeared from our lives. The calls stopped, the unsettling waves from the car stopped. For a long time, both during the days with Dr. Ramsey and after, I had the same nightmare. I wake up and see that he is standing over me while I sleep. It was a long time before I could feel like just a child again. Years later, I learned that when Dr. Ramsey called, he told my parents he was going to rape and kill me, and then my sister, and that they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. I don't know what happened to him when he disappeared. I don't know if he had an accident, if he went to jail, or if he fell into a coma. But sometimes I wonder if my father's wait ended that night, when he was sitting in the dark kitchen with the gun on the table. I don't know. I'm not sure I want to know. For the last 6 months, I have been relentlessly stalked by a man I dated for only 1 month, and I have received death threats. It all started with 45 or 50 calls a day, 50-page text messages, and him showing up at my house at 5 in the morning. When I refused to obey or react to his provocations, I started receiving threats. He declared he would kill me and get away with it. He would just have to flee the country. He said I shouldn't have forced him to be my friend or to give him a second chance by force, but that there was no other way. Every time I blocked his number, he called from others, tried to pretend he was someone else, or asked his friends to call me, and sometimes even strangers on the street. Once I scared an unsuspecting guy to death by informing him that the person who had just asked him to call me was actually stalking me, and I sent proof. The guy ended up calling the police. The stalker, as usual, escaped. About 2 months later, I was evicted from my apartment because the neighbors stopped feeling safe due to his constant stalking presence. Then I filed a report and obtained a temporary protection order. A few days later, I received a photo of a note the sheriff's deputy left at my stalker's then residence with a mocking message. "What you're trying to do is stupid, and the court order is just a piece of paper." In the end, he simply avoided the process servers, and I was left totally without protection. On May 31 of this year, I moved. That didn't stop my stalker. He swore to find me wherever I moved and threatened that if he didn't find me, he would find my family. After which, he sent a map of the house of my mother, whom he didn't even know. I received a message from a woman who introduced herself as my former landlord. She wrote that I had a debt, and that to avoid fines I should pay the bill through the link in the message. It turned out to be my stalker, pretending to be a woman, and the link was a trap to get my IP address upon clicking. Upon discovering this, I changed my phone number and began to systematically destroy any trace of my presence on the internet. That seemed to make him very angry. Before deleting profiles, I tried to block him. Every time I blocked an account, he simply created a new one and kept writing as if nothing happened. 12 different accounts on Reddit, 9 on Tumblr, 10 on Instagram, 3 accounts on Meetup and on Facebook, where he changed his location to my hometown and added almost all of my classmates as friends. Even 3 accounts on Duolingo and on MySpace. Yes, MySpace. Then I received an empty package from him at my old address with the address correction requested, do not forward note. I guess he hoped the mail would comply with his request and return a package to him already with the label of my new address. In mid-July, he created a profile using my photos and data to threaten my family. When I didn't respond, he started posting semi-nude photos of me there, trying to blackmail me into talking to him. I didn't give in and contacted Twitter to report the account, and they deleted it. On August 21, 2014, I woke up around 8 in the morning to frantic knocking and doorbell ringing. I looked out the window and saw with horror my stalker. I called the police and he, of course, escaped again. I have already filed more than 7 reports with the police. This incident was followed by threatening emails demanding a meeting. Otherwise, since he had found me, the next time I would wake up to gunshots. And if I didn't meet, first I quote, he would taser me and rape me using my boyfriend's blood as lubricant. Last Sunday, I woke up at 6:45 in the morning to the same noise and knocking. I started recording him on video while talking to the police on the phone. He escaped on foot again, and I faced the same absurdity from the authorities. Well, we can't do much because technically at this moment he isn't doing anything illegal. Then why does he run away? Interesting. I obtained another protection order, but I don't have the exact address of this dangerous person. So I urgently need an honest detective to find his residence and serve him the subpoena. I hope you can recommend someone to me. I have developed insomnia, depression, anxiety, and paranoia. I am in total isolation. I am 22 years old and I no longer have a social life. 0 friends. I have become a shadow of what I was. I was threatened with eviction. I lost my job because of this man's behavior, and I don't know how much longer I can take it. Actually, he did a lot more things to terrorize me, but for the sake of brevity, I tried to summarize the story. I have evidence, recordings, event logs, copies of all his threats and contact attempts. I am willing to send them by mail to prove I'm not lying. I'm in Las Vegas, if that helps. Update of October 8, 2014. 2 weeks after the first post. Photo description. Photograph with the door open. In front of it, a chair pushed to one side. Black powder, possibly for taking fingerprints. It shows the part of the door that was kicked in. On the door, there are arrows taped, probably from the investigators, pointing to specific spots. I write this looking at the mess left by the police, feeling a bit dazed. After 6 months of stalking and threats to my life, my stalker finally lost control, decided to kick down my door and fulfill his promise. Out of fear, for the last month I slept propping the front door with a chair to give me a few precious extra seconds in case of danger. It gives me chills when I think how everything could have ended if I hadn't blocked the door. I woke up around 1:15 at night to the sound of the door giving way after a blow, followed by the sound of the stalker's struggle with the chair as he tried to break in. I jumped and grabbed the gun with which I learned to do everything, even shower. I stood at the top of the stairs and fired twice. I hit him in the chest. I heard his scream, his disbelief that I could defend myself. Never in my life had I been so afraid. It was like going from 0 to 100 in milliseconds. I don't know if he's alive, but I know the police took him, and that's what helps the most. During the month he was eluding the police, I began to doubt maybe he was unstoppable, uncatchable, a Houdini who would kill me and get away with it. Now I'm dazed and I feel guilt, surprise, relief, and disbelief. I was shaking while the police dogs pulled him from his hiding place under a bush. I survived where many don't survive. Damn it, I survived. The flow of support is incredible. I can't express my gratitude to you. Everyone can be critical. But the fact is this: you don't know what you will do in a situation like this until it happens to you. Those who think it could have been handled differently have never heard someone say the words, "You no longer deserve to breathe," in earnest. And for those who write, "You should have fired a warning shot." Warning shots do not exist. A gun is lethal force. You only pull the trigger when you fear for your life, and all other methods of containment have been exhausted. When he kicked down my door, there were no containment factors left. Warning shots are dangerous and can injure innocent people. This isn't a Western. This is what responsible gun ownership means. I will write an update as soon as everything calms down a bit, I promise. Link to a news article from October 2, 2014, Las Vegas, Nevada. A woman shot her stalker after he kicked down her back door. She lived in fear, showered with a gun, and propped the door with a chair. Precisely because of a case like this, her post on Reddit caused this story to go viral. Police report that the ex-boyfriend, Douglas Eugene Jackson, 22, kicked down her door around 1 in the morning last Friday. KVVU-TV reports that Jackson left the scene and tried to hide in the bushes. Police dogs quickly found the stalker. He received medical attention at the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Now Jackson faces charges of home invasion and aggravated stalking. The victim, who preferred to remain anonymous, kept numerous threatening messages and social media posts from the stalker. She says he forced her to move. She obtained a court order and a license to carry concealed weapons. Case update in 2020, 6 years later. It's the same man. He did this with another woman in 2019 while on probation. Reno, Nevada. A Nevada resident was sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to stalking a known woman, a crime committed during his probation for a similar crime in Las Vegas. The Washoe County District Attorney's Office in Reno announced the sentence for Douglas Eugene Jackson, 28, on Friday. Jackson was arrested in Arizona in January and pleaded guilty in July. According to the prosecutor, Jackson sent numerous threatening messages to a woman over several months in 2019, including threats against her dog and her property. He also called her family and friends. At the time of the threats, Jackson was on probation for stalking his ex-girlfriend in Las Vegas. That woman ended up shooting him in her home. That was our heroine, the original author. Prosecutor Travis Lucy demanded the maximum penalty due to the terrifying nature of Jackson's behavior. which manifested only a month after his release on probation. In 2023, a woman on TikTok declared that she is the author of the original 2014 post. September 20, 2023, 9 years later, Daisha Washington was 22 years old when she agreed to go on a date with a man. After the second date, she decided there was no spark and told him so. In a video on her TikTok account, Washington tells how the 3 weeks of knowing each other turned into 7 months of stalking. A month and a half after the rejection, the guy drastically changed his tone. He started writing to her hundreds of times a day, claiming he was a good man and deserved a chance. At first I ignored him. It irritated me, like, who are you? But then everything became very scary and very fast. He started sending her photos of her house from the outside, saying he planned an incursion. Washington explains that he talked to strangers and her neighbors, so she couldn't trust anyone. In the end, she had to move, as the court order is really just a piece of paper, and she couldn't sleep because of his threats that he was outside and planned to enter. Washington claims she went to the police 5 or 10 times. She wrote about 10 reports, but they told her they couldn't do anything until he hurt her. The man threatened to kill her and said he knew he would get away with it because he was a white man and she was a black woman. Later, they assigned a detective to her case. But in the first meeting, he said he had met with the stalker. He thought he seemed like a good guy and suggested it was just a misunderstanding. At that moment, I realized, this man is going to kill me and get away with it. Washington decided to buy a firearm, despite being categorically against guns after her parents were shot in her childhood. The man kept demanding to meet, threatening that if she didn't agree, he would tear her apart and use her blood as lubricant. And he frequently appeared at her door, avoiding the police. And then, suddenly, he went quiet. In September, he went to find her, kicking down the door. Washington said, "I remember, I just grabbed the gun from the table. I wasn't angry, I wasn't upset. I just made a decision, either him or me, and I chose me. And I fired." The police found the stalker. Due to his injuries, he couldn't run far and was sentenced to prison. Daisha Washington started working at a shooting range, participated in Refuse to be a Victim courses to help other women feel the strength to protect themselves. Now she works at a large tech company and values every moment of life. Original published on April 16. My partner chooses his stalker friend over me, but then wants to reconcile when his social circle erases him from their lives for being friends with her. My boyfriend is a dancer, so he has many female friends, which seems fine to me since I myself have many male friends. So in 2 years of relationship, there were no jealousies on either side. He has a very close circle of friends. I know all of them. They are wonderful and passionate girls, and I get along with almost all of them. One of his friends didn't like me from the beginning. Honestly, it seems to me that she didn't even try to become my friend. I didn't care. I don't have to be liked by everyone. The point is that I'm dating her friend, whether she likes it or not. She might not like me, fine, but getting into our relationship is crossing the line. Besides openly saying she doesn't like me, she behaves in a quite stalking-like manner. She calls my boyfriend's phone non-stop at odd hours, and if he doesn't answer, she throws a tantrum about how I am changing him and taking up all his free time. Last week we had a dinner for our anniversary, and guess who showed up? Yes, his friend. He told her we planned a romantic date at a specific restaurant, and she decided she missed her friend, so she would just join us and pay her share, so we wouldn't worry. For some reason, my boyfriend doesn't stop her behavior. I know he understands she's crossing the line. We've discussed it many times, but for some reason he just can't set and maintain strict boundaries with her. After that dinner, I was so angry with him for his inaction and for allowing her to ruin our anniversary that I told him not to call me for a while so I could calm down. As I said, I get along with the rest of his friends, and with one in particular, we became very close due to common interests. Obviously, She found out about our fight and wrote to me to find out what happened. I explained everything to her, not just about the dinner, but everything that had happened during our relationship. That's when I learned that this friend of his had been a problem even before I appeared. She accused the other girls in their group of trying to monopolize his attention. She was possessive to the point of showing up uninvited at any meeting with other friends and followed him through Snapchat. The friend explained to me that they didn't get involved much because they thought it wasn't their business, and they even thought maybe there was something between my boyfriend and her. But now that I'm here, their friendship seems simply inappropriate, and the stalker can't accept it. Anyway, she told the other girls, and they decided to give my boyfriend a shock therapy because yesterday he wrote to me, accusing me of trying to destroy his social circle, scolded me for my jealousy toward his friend, and even declared that there is a reason why he chooses her before me. I replied, "If that's the case, then we're done." That was yesterday, and today he changed his mind and suddenly wants to resume the relationship. I asked him if his stalker friend was still in our lives, and he said, "Yes, you must understand that she's going through a lot." And then he asked me to talk to his friends because they had kicked the stalker out of the group chat, and she was crying to him that now she has no one to talk to. I don't know what to do. We've been together for 2 years and I love this man, but I'm not sure I want to be part of this drama. I also have the strange feeling that the only reason he wants to reconcile is because they kicked his strange friend out of the chat. My thoughts are confused. How should I act? The boyfriend of the original author posted in Mental Health a couple of days later seeking answers. I need advice. Boundaries and BPD, borderline personality disorder. I have a very close friend. A few years ago, she was diagnosed with BPD. I am her best and only friend, her favorite person, as she says. I appreciate her very much. But recently, I realized that her possessive attitude toward me is slowly pushing everyone around me away. She is constantly present in my life, friendships, relationships, family, but due to her illness, she can be quite intense and jealous. I tried to set boundaries before, but it seems I do it wrong because everything always ends in fits of rage, sadness, and apathy on her part. As a best friend, I feel responsible for her well-being, but the stress of always walking on eggshells around her exhausts me morally. Can someone give me advice on how to set boundaries and deal with the jealousy of a person with a BPD diagnosis? And then he wrote in relationship advice on April 21, I have lost my girlfriend and possibly all my friends because of another friend of mine. And I am lost. I need advice. My girlfriend left me recently. Our relationship was stable, but we had an altercation. We fought and broke up. And when I tried to contact her to apologize, she blocked me everywhere. Furthermore, my friends took her side and refused to talk to me. And all this is because of another friend of mine. Let's call her May. May and I have been friends for many years, and she has a difficult past, a mental illness, and a quite difficult character. I am her only close friend, her favorite person, so she is quite clingy. I have had many, or rather had many female friends, and May is jealous of all of them. Between May and me, there has never been anything more than friendship. She is not my type, so I guess her possessiveness comes from her illness and the fact that I am her best friend. My friends expressed their dislike toward May, but over time they got used to her constant presence. The problem started when I met my girlfriend, now my ex, whom I will call Laura. Laura is very social. She got along well with my friends, and it seems to me they even grew to love her more than me. The only one who didn't like Laura was May. May became even more jealous. During the 2 years of my relationship with Laura, May tried to separate us many times. I know she was acting wrong, but every time I tried to talk to her, she alluded to her illness, to me being her only real friend. She cried, said Laura was pushing me away from her, threatened to hurt herself, etc. After May ruined our anniversary dinner, Laura couldn't take it anymore. She told me to finally set boundaries, and we didn't talk for almost 2 weeks. I didn't contact Laura in that time because I didn't dare talk to May about her behavior. After 2 weeks, one of my friends called to scold me for my lack of respect toward Laura and for allowing May to destroy not only my friendship with the others, but also the only healthy relationship I had ever had. I found out that my friends decided that May and I didn't deserve to be their friends until we started behaving like adults, and they deleted us, both from all common groups and chats. I got angry with Laura for involving my friends in our problems, and I called her. I admit I was emotional. I acted like an idiot and said very rude and untrue things that I regretted the next day. But she left me anyway. I asked her to at least talk to my friends, because turning them against me was unnecessary. But she wrote that my friends have their own brains and blocked me. I tried to contact my friends, but I only heard that they had put up with May and me for months and that May was a burden to them even before Laura appeared. Now I am torn. I know you can't have your cake and eat it too, and I have to choose between May or my friends, and maybe then Laura. But it is very difficult for me to leave May, even if she is toxic, because I know she has problems and I am the only thing she has. What should I do? Comment on the boy's post. It sounds like something inevitable. You will find someone new and May will do her thing again. May is a walking problem, and I understand why Laura set boundaries and left while she could. You encourage this to some extent by not taking any action. Yes, I understand that I encourage it, but it is so difficult not to do it when I know that any attempt to set boundaries will lead her to hysteria, and I feel responsible for her well-being and her illness. That's why she does it. She is manipulating you. Mental illness is not an excuse to allow someone to harm you or walk all over you. I know it's not an excuse, but she has a clinical diagnosis and has those attacks for any reason, not just with me. I don't think she is capable of consciously manipulating me or anyone else, or that she wants to hurt me. It's hard to explain. So May has been crossing all boundaries for years, and you continue to encourage it, they tell you. Deal with May or there will be consequences. You have to choose. You throw a tantrum over the phone to Laura and she gets out of your drama. No one else wants to participate in your circus. And somehow it's Laura's fault that you allow May to abuse and control you. Dude, it's high time to really listen to what Laura and your friends have been telling you for years. The knowing the consequences phase is not fun, but you've been playing the fool for too long. Either you stay with May until the grave, as she demands, or you leave and offer massive apologies to everyone. Start with the question, why did you allow May to ruin your anniversary? Responding to the question, I didn't know she would come. I just said I planned a dinner at a good restaurant and she just appeared. I didn't tell her to leave because she has fits of rage, sadness, and because of her illness. I was afraid of making a scene in public. Laura, the original author, returns with an update on April 27 and additional information from the group of friends. We are done for good. I asked him one last time if he really wanted to keep the stalker in his life. I received the answer that he feels responsible, so I wished him luck and blocked him. I thought I would mourn this relationship, but it turned out I didn't even realize how much this disaster was draining me. Blocking my ex gave me a sense of liberation. As soon as we broke up, I stopped receiving friend requests on Facebook and Instagram from strange and obviously fake accounts. I can post a story without worrying about the stalker suddenly showing up where I am in hopes of running into my ex. Let them keep each other, not my circus, not my monkeys. Instead, I have gained some really good friends. After breaking up with my ex, I wrote to the friend who contacted me first. I felt I had to explain myself, as I thought breaking up with the guy also meant the end of our friendship. She called me crazy for thinking she would ever leave me alone now that she knows how great I am. I just got back from having some beers with my ex's former circle of friends. That same friend invited me. The girls are great. They told me I shouldn't blame myself for their decision to erase the ex and the stalker from their lives, because they had been thinking about it for a long time before I appeared. She created huge problems and none of them wanted to keep putting up with it. And what stories I heard. It's wild. The stalker is so possessive of my ex that she was jealous even of his own mother. After his mother separated from her husband, my ex spent more time with her to support her. Then the stalker tried to convince him that his mother was in love with him. My ex complained to one of the friends that the stalker regularly sent him articles about emotional incest until his mother found a new boyfriend. I'm glad I got out of that swamp before it was too late. I want to thank everyone for the advice and the magical nudges. I needed it to see what a dangerous position I was putting myself in. Comments on the update. This is so crazy that I totally believe it's true. But the main question, what other stories did you discover? You can't say they told juicy details and not share them. I discovered much more than I wanted, that's for sure. Let's just say the story about the ex's mother is just the tip of the iceberg. From what I learned, the stalker's jealousy attacks were so severe that she threatened to commit suicide because my ex danced with someone else at a wedding. She also stole his phone and blocked his girlfriend, the one before me, and threatened to end her life if he unblocked her. Apparently, she improved after receiving professional help. But when we started dating, she lost her mind again. It's so strange that he chooses her over everyone else in his life, even over his girlfriend, even though they're only friends. Do you think, author, that he's actually in love with her? I don't think he's in love with her. If he loved her, he wouldn't encourage her behavior, at least for her own sake. I must say another commenter might have been right. He likes the feeling of being someone's savior, and at the same time enjoys the attention he receives. Anyway, he lost everything.